I want to think a little bit about what wouldn't you want to play against if you were G2 Hell, especially after what we've seen against big Chroma Solari.
Xerath. Xerath needs to be banned out. It is one of those comp picks for Vixen. It's one of those champions that she pilots exceptionally well. And you can see how much damage she was dealing to G2, both quite literally and also mentally, because it is so hard to play against Xerath. So I want to see it being banned out by G2 Hell.
So Champion Select is underway. Big Chroma on the blue side, while G2 Hell are on the red side. And there you go. You have the Rek'Sai ban from Big Chroma and the Xerath ban. Exactly how you predicted, Solari. What will these two last bans should be focused on? Okay, Ari here. And any other ideas, J-Real?
So I think it's an interesting one, right? They banned away the Xerath, but it's what are they going to not ban away this time round, right? They're going to go for the Rel this time, actually. That's quite an interesting one. It was actually Big Chroma that I believe banned Rel last time. So now they've not banned the Ivan. They've also not banned the Lilia. So I feel like one of Trez's picks is going to be left up. The Tristana is also available. So if Big Chroma do want to swap into something they've already played, something they maybe are more comfortable on than necessarily just the poke comp, they do have options.
I think it's really interesting that they banned Tifa's Niku here, because it's been a pick that she's been able to do some nice plays, dealing some damage if there isn't damage enough on the AD carry. But yeah, Tristana had the last ban, and I think it's completely understandable why G2 Hell wanted not to have that. But yeah, you have the Lilia.
Yeah.
You have the Lilia.
It was a sacrifice. It was either of the two had to be banned out, with the understanding that the other one is definitely going to be picked. With Big Chroma being on the blue side, having the first pick pro, you just know that either of these two champions are going to show up. And in the end, G2 Hell decide that Lilia is going to be a little bit easier for them to deal with, and I can understand where they're coming from. That Tristana was not looking easy to deal with.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that it's smarter from them as well, because they know that if they ban the Lilia, then the Ivan could have got picked up anyway. So there were so many options coming out there from Trez that there just wasn't the time to ban both. But right now we are going to see that Civ being hovered. I'm really liking the Kindred from Sheena, though. She's been consistently getting ahead, and this pick can become so destructive.
We are seeing so many interesting picks here. Yes, Severe and the Nautilus there. That is the correct pick. And the Kindred. I see that there can be some really interesting potential here from the side of G2 Hell with this Kindred, but will it impact the way they want on the map, Solari?
Oh, Kindred always impacts the map really heavily, because when you pick Kindred in your jungle, you have to have the understanding that you are locked into playing around this Kindred from now on. She is going to be a high picker. She is going to be the protagonist of the story that you're writing for yourselves right now. You need to give her the resources. You need to give her the stacks, help her secure them. You need to give her the kills. All the money on the reef needs to go into Kindred's pockets. And by picking Lysandra on the mid lane, I quite like it. A little bit more of the enabling tools, allowing Kindred to shine later in the game. So let's see how it's going to work with the last two picks for them.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the bans, J-Real, and let's try to see what they are prioritizing and what they do not want to play against. So Brom here from Big Chroma, and I think it's also understandable why they don't want to play against this Brom. And on the other side we have a Renekton and a Jace. Jace was a really good pick.
No, Jace was really strong. I really respect the G2 Hell have just said, you know what, we're going to ban out Crow, because Crow was able to cause such big problems for Liza in that first match. I am a little bit surprised they haven't banned out certain mid laners. I think that if the side of Big Chroma can pick a mid laner with a lot of wave clear, with a lot of push potential, it could really affect how this map plays, because Sheena needs the support of Tifa. They picked Lysandra to give them support, to give CC, to get the put on mid lane and have control around the roaming, and if they don't have that, it could start to fall apart.
Solari, you really want to talk. Is this going to be as Karma?
Yes, it is going to be as Karma, and I love it quite a lot, because we're still talking about playing around Kindred for G2 Hell, and now they can do it to the fullest. Ezreal is very self-sustainable on the lane as long as he's very vigilant about the fact that Nautilus can one-shot him, help one-shot him very quickly. He should be fine there staying alone on the lane, which means Chroma can rotate herself to help out Sheena in the jungle to help to get this Kindred accelerated. Ezreal can do the same later in the game if needed to clear out the way for her with the poke. So I love this composition from G2 Hell. As long as they get Sheena going, it's going to be fine, but can they get Sheena going? Because look at what's happening at Big Chroma side, especially this guard on the top lane has me really concerned.
Yeah. J-Real, what are your thoughts about this Big Chroma composition? What do they want to do in this game? What are the things they have to make sure they do, well, to get the victory scream?
I think I'm not as happy as I was in the first game. I think I liked the first game comp a little bit more. I think it really took a lot of the game away from G2. But this comp is still very strong, right? I think there's a lot of comfort picks coming out there. Trez on that Lilia. I haven't seen Vixen personally on the LeBlanc. I'm quite excited about it. But we have definitely seen Xavi on this Sivir. And we know that Lumi can play this Nautilus as well. So that bot lane I'm very comfortable with. Trez as well on the Lilia. I think we'll definitely be able to make a lot of things work. Chromac played Garen earlier, and it didn't go too well, but that was against an Alawi. So I am interested to see how this one does play out. Maybe this one's a bit different. The big one for me, though, the eyes for me are set onto Sheena. Can they make things work? Can they convert this lead into more? Because yesterday, they played the Kindred, they got very far ahead, and I mean extremely far ahead, but they couldn't make it into a win. Is that going to be the same situation today?
And what I'm asking you is, the composition is not the same. They have other tools. How can they transition if that happens? If the same situation happens in today's match, what can they do different with these tools, J-Real?
I think it's like peeling for your carries, right? Making sure that you play. They have the Lissandra, they have the Sion. They can stand in front and CC lock a lot of people. Kindred will be able to do the damage. She can absolutely melt the Reaver if she gets ahead. And also with the Karma as well. It's just focusing on which carries you need to focus and make sure that you play very tight as a unit and play those team fights well.
Now, Solari, you seem to favor G2 Hell's comp, at least on this second game, no? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I already said it. It has much more identity compared to Big Chroma, because Big Chroma right now are breaking in the big guns, but these big guns are not connecting to each other. They all work in their own directions. For G2 Hell, everything is in a very single, straightforward direction, but it all will depend on Sheena. On her, our eyes need to be in this game. If early game goes well for Kindred, if she's starting to stack up, boy oh boy, for Big Chroma it's going to be big time trouble, because those front lane tanks are going to be shredded.
There's a lot of big potential. There is a lot of big potential. I think Big Chroma's composition is slightly harder to execute, but if it works, I think it can be deadly.
Yeah.
I think it can be definitely deadly. And I think they have many tools to get those picks, maybe to split push. So if you would beat G2 Hell, and since they are in match point, Big Chroma are comfortable right now. So I think that's going to be really, really important coming into this game and executing this team comp. They do not have the pressure that G2 Hell has, and that might be good for this execution. I don't know if you follow me. I don't know if you agree with me on this matter. J-Real.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that is going to play a little factor. I will say the one key point, I think, if I was to give G2 any advice, it's do not let Vixen get ahead. Because if Vixen gets ahead on this LeBlanc, Kindred and Ezreal are in big trouble, and it could be GG.
It could be. It could be. Any other advice that you would like to give them, Solari?
I can give an advice to both teams, to be honest. For Big Chroma, it's going to be try to play around sleep from Trez, because whenever Trez did sleep in those games that I've been watching for Big Chroma, it has been massive, and Trez is really good at landing those things. So playing around her does sound like a very good idea for G2 Hell. Help out your jungler, stay alive on all the other lanes, and if you help out Sheena, Sheena will deliver back to you.
And Sheena is going to play a big part into these the objective controls, into the control of the rhythm of this next game. Big Chroma versus G2 Hell. Game 2, match point. Will this be the last game? Well, we shall see.
We shall see indeed, but this could be the end of the line for G2 Hell. This could be the crowning moment for Big Chroma Solari. We're getting into this game. The finals is underway. It is fiery, it is spicy, and we have two very strong compositions. But talk to me about the power spikes. What are we expecting? Who are we needing to see get ahead and build the leads?
Well, I will not talk about G2 because we already talked a lot about Shin, and she definitely is going to be the one who needs to be building up a lot on the G2 Hell side. But on the side of Big Chroma, I am looking at Lilia, I'm looking at LeBlanc, and I'm looking at Sivir. Those are 3 win cons for Big that they can be playing around, which is nice for them because they have much more options than G2 have. G2 are very straightforward in their team comp right now. If something doesn't work out for Sheena, what else are they going to be is a hard question to answer. But for Big, if Trez is ahead, good. If Vixen is ahead, good. If they are not ahead, wait for Sivir's power spike to come in. Oh
this
yeah,
is
Sheena.
Good ward. It's going to be spotted out. They are going to be able to pick that one up. Who got the ward? Oh, it was Lumi. That's unfortunate.
Oh.
Right on the invade is still there. Lizia going to be able to get the knock up, and Trez able to get a bit of distance between them and G2. But this invade has worked out. They played the real slow game, and they're going to be able to reap the rewards.
Oh yes, getting a little bit of the jungle from Big Chroma, slowing down Trez, and we already talked, especially UJ already talked about the importance of slowing down Trez in their jungle, because then it is really hard for them to play, especially considering the champion picks that they usually go for. So a very good move there from G2. It doesn't matter that nobody gets the kills in the process, it just matters what exactly they own the map and how much pressure you apply. And for Kindred, it is so damn important to be on the enemy's jungle as early as possible. Lizzie is still helping out, making sure that Sheena is getting accelerated as much and as quickly as possible. And look at the bot lane, look at the pressure on the bot lane.
This is a page out of Adam's book, right? Like, this was the strat that Adam used in the LEC to basically get the jungler ahead. This is massive coming out of G2.
And it's working wonderfully for them, with the only exception that Trez right now is pretty much vertically clearing the tall part of the jungle. She's in the G2 Hell's jungle, taking their red buff as well, and there is no protection for the turret of the G2 side on the top lane. Nobody's getting the farm there. I mean, nobody, Lizzie is not getting the farm there. Already missed the first wave, already missed quite a lot of those minions. The 2 waves pretty much.
Now, they will spot Trez out there as the wave does walk past. You see the pings coming in. They know that the Lilia is on the top side, but it's going to be a little bit hard contest because Lilia is level 1 to the Garen's level 3, and they have Ignite, but now Hook in the bot side. Ignite is going to go down onto Kaltis from Lumi, and a bit of trading is going to be utilized. No flashes blown, though, no summoners used, as we see Trez in a bit of trouble, actually, and now Sheena moving up. This could be a dangerous moment for this Lilia. They might be getting taken down here. Flash out, but it doesn't matter, and Sheena picks up a stack and the first blood.
Yeah, it's not even about the first blood that much, to be honest. It's about the fact that Sheena had the stack on Trez from the very beginning of the game, and now she got this stack taken out of the enemy jungle. This is very important because Kindred is all about her stack. She gets a massive amount of stats from those, and she is getting going already. Having first stack so early in the game and not even from the enemy jungle is really good for the Kindred. So we gotta say that so far G2 are up to a very strong start, but again, the previous game, the beginning of the game looked good for them too, so they need to show us that they can keep this momentum going.
Yeah, and I really like the Lissandra pick into the LeBlanc. It just gives so much agency for the mid lane. It's going to be really hard for LeBlanc to snowball out leads, and they're going to have to look for it around the rest of the map. But damn, Sheena is doing what we expected. Proactive gameplay, getting around the map and causing problems for Trez.
Yes, and problems are indeed there because level 3 Kindred already with the stack is a really tough thing to fight, especially for Lilia. Lilia can kite out a lot of things, but you cannot really effectively kite out Kindred because she doesn't rely on those kill shots to be landed on you. So it's not really a fight that Trez wants to be taking right now, and rightfully so, but look at Sheena on the mid lane already.
Yeah, they are going to get into the lane, but I can't say they can really do too much. Vixen just able to stay very far away, and obviously we've all tried to gank LeBlanc. It's just pretty difficult. And now the bot lane, though, could actually be where the action is had. Glumbleblu is going to be able to lock down Zavi, and now the damage from Kaltis is raining in. But look at the damage from Lumi, man. You're a support Nautilus with no items. What is this?
I mean, you saw in the previous game, Lumi taking Kaltis one-on-one, being a support, going against 0-80 carry of the enemy team. Lumi is scary, even when she's just playing a Nautilus, quote-unquote, just a champion who is an engager, and a tank doesn't really deal damage though. she does still damage on that Nautilus, and quite a lot. But to be honest, this is the engagers, yeah, on the bot lane, the tanky champions, they do have a lot of damage during the laning phase, which means that the enchanters and the squish champions need to be very wary of them.
And TP there taken by Zavi. It's going to get them back into lane. They're not going to miss out on too much. They will be able to regain a lot of that CS, so not going to go too far behind Kaltis, which is very important for this bot lane. And we haven't talked too much about the bot lane in general. I feel like both of them are just going to be scaling. The eyes obviously set very much around the jungle and what they can make happen. But where do we also talk about this top lane? Because a big lead has started to accrue from Crow.
Garen is an annoying champion to deal with. And Lisa is again playing from the position that she just needs to be the weak side. She's a very weak side right now, just hitting level 5 very recently, while Chroma has been sitting on level 6 for quite some time. And I feel like the fact that Lisa was in the beginning with Sheena on the bot side of the map, sacrificing a lot of that minion experience and gold, is really not playing into her advantage right now, allowing Chroma to build up a very nice lead there, a very nice pressure on the top lane, which for sure Big will try to rotate towards the Heralds. But it doesn't necessarily mean that Chromac is able to kill Lysia, because so as long as Lysia plays very defensively in the top lane, she should be fine under her turret.
Yeah, and so far has been the strategy that has been employed, and it's working pretty well, just giving time for Sheena to get around the map. But I will say Trez has managed to get back into this game, right? 36 farms to 38. They haven't really lost out on too much. The only real difference is that one kill. And also, in terms of marks, Kindred only been able to get one so far. So again, not really snowballing their lead, but I do like this. Getting that dragon early, a big step up from G2, a big change from game 1.
G2 can rotate very quickly to the Drake, help Sheena secure it. Yes, it's a very good step from them, and we love seeing G2 securing their dragons, because it usually means that they are able to transfer them into a very steely mid game for themselves. But yeah, speaking of the marks for Kindred, it is hard for her to be playing against Lilia right now, because Lilia moves around the map very quickly, she clears the camps very quickly, and she's able to react to whenever the new marks are popping for Kindred on the map super quickly. So far, Sheena hasn't been able to get absolutely anything from the enemy's jungle in that sense, but she's trying to get it from the champions. You gotta give her that.
Yeah, it's a tough world, I have for Kindred, you know? But someone's got to do it, and it is going to be Sheena.
Yeah.
And they've managed to do it before. They've shown prowess on this champion. They can definitely build up those leads, as right now, Lysia is just feeling the Beyblade effect of Garen, and I imagine that is going to be the story for a lot of the time. I'm surprised that Sheena is spending a lot of time around Vixen, but if Tifa can land that Frozen Tomb, there is a little bit of an opening where Vixen won't be able to get away.
There is the way to have a very hard all-in engage on the Vixen, at least to get out the passive out of her, because it's already going to be a big tool for Vixen. It's going to be hard to be fighting without it on the lane and to stay safe on the lane. Plus, G2 are smelling this Herald that has just spawned on the map, and they really don't want to give Big Chroma the opportunity to play around the lead that Chromac has built up on the top lane. They're rotating a lot of resources towards this Herald, but Trez is around the corner as well.
They're going to get a little bit of poke off, but I think G2's proactive play, the fact that they're moving there first, the fact that they've got prior over this, is just going to be enough to force Big away, and they will secure another neutral objective around the map, and they can quite happily leave Kaltis in this bot lane alone. Xavi not going to have that solo kill threat on this Ezreal, and with the later rotations coming out of Big, no contention needed.
Interesting enough, for the second series in a row already, we're seeing the same idea coming out of G2. In the first game, they come with a very strange draft idea for themselves, and they don't manage to pull it out, but then in the second game, it does feel like some switch happens for them, and they wake up and they come in with a very strong draft, with a very good idea in the basis of it, and they are playing it to the fullest potential. G2 are doing it right now. Maybe we'll try to have Chromac becoming the next target on the menu for Sheena.
Yeah, but Lysia is really low, doesn't have ultimate. It's going to be quite hard to lock down this Garen, obviously just one of the most difficult champions to keep in place. And that also brings me to the later stages of the game. I know we're still very early on, I know it's still very close, but what I want to ask is, we talked about how G2 had big troubles getting into fights last game with the side of Big Chroma. Big Chroma, are they going to have the same issue against this Ezreal, against this Kindred, or do you feel like they have a better comp to deal with that long range?
There is not so much of a super long range on the side of G2 right now. They have a little bit, but they don't necessarily outrange Big heavily. Big want to be up close to them, yes, because even LeBlanc, who does have the range, wants to be jumping around and getting on into the face of the enemies. Sivir is pretty much the only one who is going to be staying on the full-on backlane, shooting away her boomerangs into the enemies. So I don't think it's going to be the problem. I think the fights are going to look much different in this game. Everybody getting much more up close with each other, with the front lane being a very distinct front lane and with the back lane staying in the back lane. With the exception, again, of Vixen and most probably of Sheena, because she is going to be hopping around like Kindred does.
Yeah, I think obviously the on the hunt there could give them a lot of agency in the fight.
Oh,
right now, talk about
yeah.
agency. Colombia Blue is going to go down. That's going to be a pick up there for Lumi. Caltis might be the next one on the list. Stepping forward, they go in, but here comes Sheena, trying to get aggressive back, able to get the mark on to Xavi, but it's not going to be enough. They get away, but Lumi is going to be the sacrifice. Tifa now making the roam down. Can they get into range of this Sivir? Is Spell Shield going to be back up? I think Tifa is just a little bit far away, so we'll not be able to catch up with Xavi.
Does have the flash available, could try to gap close a little bit, but decided not to overcommit too much into Xavi, so it makes sense, especially if you look at what's happening on the bot lane right now, with the Herald who just boinked into this outer turret and is going to get the first third of the game together with Kaldis, so the gold influx is happening for both these AD carries, and Tifa is back on the mid lane.
Yeah, Colombia causing some problems in the top side. There are big problems for Lesia. They are going to be sent back to base. Chromac is going to stay alive. Demacian Justice is dealt, and a kill on the other side of this map for Big Chroma.
Very good cross-map answer from Big Chroma. However, not maybe the most timed out one, because the dragon is coming up in 35 seconds, which means that yes, Big Chroma have the prayer on the top lane very strongly in their hands, which will allow them to keep pushing in there, allow them to keep denying Sheena any marks whatsoever in the top part of the jungle. But on the bot lane, this is where G2 are strong right now. This is where they have the turret taken down from the side of Big Chroma, and this is where they are already at the dragon pit, putting in the vision. And for Big Chroma, it's going to be really hard to fight for the second Drake of the game.
But it is still the second Drake. It's not the one that they need to really fight over. It can be gifted over to G2 with no minor problems, because this Garen is starting to become a bit of a problem, right? 1,400 gold in the lead, completed their first item already, and has that level lead from the get-go. Are we maybe a little bit worried that this Garen could start to snowball this game away?
I am a little bit worried, because to be fair, Garen can do exactly that thing, and it is really hard to shut down Garen, who is far ahead, because he deals an obnoxious amount of damage. Oh, Xavi!
Xavi going to be getting caught out. The knockup is there. Sheena trying to get some more damage, but not allowed to, because Lumi playing Bouncer keeps them safer. Vixen flying in, almost getting a lockdown onto Sheena, but not going to be able to. Just a step back. And again, another explosive fight, goes pretty even for either side, but I will say G2 feeling like they came out of that a little bit ahead.
Just a tiny bit. However, look at the Big Chroma in the meantime. This Garen is split pushing constantly, and to be fair, there are two outcomes for Chromac right now. Can be joining the fights and can be dealing a lot of damage and surviving through a lot of damage, flying their way from G2 health side. But at the same time, Garen feels really good on the side lanes. He has very nice wave clear. He is not threatened by the majority of the enemy members, especially in this scenario. So Chromac, regardless of where they decide to go in the end, are going sooner or later to turn into a problem for G2.
And what a great soul, right? Hextech gates for the Kindred, allowing them to get a quick escape after the mark is stolen. And Kindred, they're starting to stack those up. I believe they're on 2 marks, so we're still waiting for them to get to that 4 number, which obviously is where the big procs start to lie. And we'll be keeping tabs on that one. But in terms of keeping tabs, look at where Crow is going. You talked about rotating them around the map. They are doing just that. They're going to send them down to the bot lane to try and claim more of these tower plates, more of this pressure, because obviously tower plates are about to drop in 10 seconds. And all in all, this game is very close, but who are you kind of putting ahead?
So right now, it is really hard to say, to be honest, because we're kind of in a stalemate situation right now, with Chromac feeling super confident on the sidelines, with Tifa trying to protect this turret as well. But to be fair, G2 have a very good momentum still going for them, despite them being in the gold deficit right now. They just need to make sure they keep playing around Sheena and give her a little bit more resource, because you could see Sheena taking the minions on the lanes, Sheena trying to go for those stacks, for those marks, and for those enemies. But right now, she's going to be the one who's going to get caught.
Oh no, Death's Charge, there's the hook, and that's a lot of damage. We are going to get Lamb's Respite to buy a bit more time, and I think Sheena will survive this one due to it. And in goes Tifa, going aggressive on on to Trez, but has maybe gone a little bit too far forward. Going to have to flash away, and now Trez stepping forward. The sleep going to go onto 2 members, but under tower they could be safe. The damage is too much though. They're not going to survive, but they will take one with them. Trez does go down, and now still in the river. Vixen could be in a bit of a sticky situation if they don't have a way to get out, which I do believe they will. Distortion there over the wall will get them out, and while all of this is going on, play the elevator music. Chromac is pushing that ball in.
I absolutely love what Chromac is doing in this game, just not paying any attention whatsoever to what is happening on the map. I am playing my own game. This is your typical solo queue Garen. Don't be surprised to see this Garen opening up the base of G2 super soon, because he's already crashing through the inner turret on this bot lane. I am predicting a hull breaker on Chromac. I am predicting Chromac to go absolutely nuts and continue doing this, because G2 need to answer right here, right now. So far, they have been ignoring Chromac apart from the very beginning of the game. It is not the case for them anymore. It cannot be the case anymore, because this Garen is going to be a constant threat for them every single time they want to contest the objectives. Sorry, that was close.
That was very close indeed. And talking about close, we are close to the next dragon, the third one of the map. And we talk about the Garen being a split push threat, now has the hull breaker, but let's also not forget that if Garen is in the team fights, can also become a massive problem. Sheena may have been able to survive with the Lamb's Respite, but you know what doesn't go too well after the Lamb's Respite? The Demacian Justice, because when you're low, you're not going to stay alive.
I gotta tell you, this is my least favorite ultimate in the game. I absolutely hate it, because every time I play against Garen and he kills you, the screen goes boom right before your eyes, and I feel like I'm going crazy for a second, or like my computer broke because of this ultimate, or just something happened, you know? I absolutely hate this ultimate, and I hate playing against Garen because of it, because it's always me who gets the ultimate in the end. I'm just a tiny Chandra support, leave me alone, Mr. Spin to win.
Yeah, well, sometimes the Beyblade got a Beyblade, you know? I also don't like Garen, but that's because I used to play a lot of champions that heal, right? I'm playing Fiddlesticks. Let me just heal. You know?
No, not allowed, sorry.
It's just like, no, you're dead. You're dead, bro. But talking about dead and talking about setting up, Columbus Blue could be in trouble here. Going to be grabbed out by Lumi, and the damage is raining in, but turning it around. Kindred already picking up 1 kill on that Nautilus, but now the rest of the team are here. Garen is spinning to win, and Tifa in a rough situation, going to not make it out alive. Lesia stepping forward, trying to set the front line for G2. They've done a good job of it. They managed to hold back the essentially the aggression from the side of Big Chroma, but I believe the dragon should be theirs.
Yes, Big Chroma are winning this fight pretty much by the end of it, because G2 cannot really enter the river right now, and you can see Sheena's even already rotating away from them. Production, can we have a look at Sheena, please, just to check on the stacks available for the Kindred, because she didn't pick any stack in this fight. She got a kill, yes, but I believe her passive was still on Tress by that moment, so no really outcome there. Thank you very much. Still 2 stacks on that Kindred. By 18th minute in the game, this is not good for Kindred anymore. She needs much more by this time.
Yeah, and another dragon there being secured, and a good one to take as well. Hextech obviously notoriously good, especially for ADCs, and G2 have 2 of them, so they don't want to be giving those over for free, Big Chroma, and now they're looking to take more towers, get more gold, and get more of a lead. It's LeBlanc, Vixen pushing them away, and now another hook landing from Lumi, damage onto Tifa, but Countess is still quite a dangerous prospect. You need to be a little bit cautious, because the damage can, almost landing there, but the damage can definitely be a little bit too hot if you're too close.
My friend, I don't know what they're feeding supports these days, but something with them is just completely wrong today. They're hitting the impossible hooks, and I know you can say, oh, it's just Nautilus, you know, the hitbox is absolutely crazy for this champion, that's how it works. No, it's not even about the Nautilus. It's not only Nautilus that have been going crazy throughout these 2 days, it's all of these supports. And speaking of Columbus,
is going to get the root, but I don't know if you want to be near Chromac. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. This is such a dangerous pick. The Garen is so scary to just be near if you are squishy, and that is the majority of G2's side, so they need to be very, very cautious indeed. And also, I just want to say, Zalari, I just love that. Is that like your like viewer's voice? Is that like what you think the viewers sound like?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. My sincere apologies if I offended anyone with that voice. I did not mean anything bad. It just comes out somehow.
To be
just
fair,
like Cyril just comes out of Sheena.
Narration. It could be your personal narration voice. Like, either way,
maybe it's my voice in my head, you know? It just speaks to me.
It was funny. I liked it. But the impossible hooks are being hit. They are being landed. And I agree. The supports have been on fire today. They've been making the plays around the map. And Talking about plays around the map, we are going to see the Herald dropped in the mid lane. That's going to do a chunk of damage onto the tier 1, but no secure for G2. They're not able to take that gold line on the map.
No.
Going to go into the Frozen Tomb, but this may have just bought Chromac more time. They may just be even more lethal when you leave the icy prison that you set yourself in. But I think they're going to survive for a little bit longer. But the looming threat, the unseen Garen is the deadliest.
Now G2 have to answer the question that they're not really prepared to have an answer to. Who is going to stop Garen on the side lanes? Because nobody so far has been able to do so. Lazia doesn't really have enough damage to do anything with Garen. Nobody else can survive because, as you rightfully mentioned, everybody on the side of G2 is squishy. Maybe Sheena is going to be the answer.
But can you catch him? Like, oh no, he's just going to turn this one around, and there's the damage coming down. The Ignite is ticking. Sheena's still alive. Are they going to live? One more, not going to be enough. And Chromac still stays alive. They leave the vicinity. There was 3 members there from G2, and they do not manage to kill this Garen.
And at the same time, because of that, they're losing the turret on the mid lane because they rotated pretty much everybody away from the mid lane. Big were like, yeah, while you're busy trying to deal with lone Chroma, who by the way is not going to go down, we're going to take away your turrets because nobody's there to protect those. Very smart moves there from Big Chroma. I absolutely love how they have been using Chromac's potential so far. This is massive from them. And the longer we go into the game, the bigger problem it is going to be for G2 Hell because they're not accelerating their Sheena to the point where they want her to be at this point in the game, and at the same time, Chromac has been given all the time in the world to do whatever they want.
And it's again, I was going to bring this up when we were talking about comps and what I wanted to see them do. And I think the thing I wanted to see G2 do was find an identity of a team comp and play very much to it. If it's going to be put everything on Countess, then do that, right? Play all of your momentum to them. If it's going to be put it all on Sheena, then do that. And I feel like in this match, they've kind of found a little bit of success here, a little bit of success there, but they've not really had the identity of what they want to do. Like, they took away their top lane. They took Lazia down to the bot lane to secure Sheena a lot of the advantages, but then you also left Chromac alone to build massive leads to themselves, which have carried on throughout the whole rest of the game. And I'm now not seeing where they're building more and more of a lead. Like, they have to try and contest for these dragons, but they're in a position where they just don't have the gold, they don't have the funding because of how Big Chroma have played the map.
Yes, and again, they cannot really stir Chromac anymore. Look at the minion score, 117 already at this point in the game. Chromac has just pretty much been farming non-stop, and it doesn't matter what she's farming because she's farming anything that is coming her way. Should it be minions, turrets, enemy champions, doesn't matter. Kurt is going to take it all, and look at them hiding in the bush, hunting.
And there are 4 members of G2 up here, by the way. It's not just Sheena on their own. And Chromac is going to find out. The TP also going to come through. No way. They're using so much to kill off this Garen. Maybe they're going to do it, but the sidestep, the feet from Chromac now trying to run away, gets locked up and finally will fall.
Woo!
Now they take down the Garen, but for what cost?
To be fair, I can see why they rotated everybody there because apart from Chromac, there's also the stack for Kindred, so they make sure they secure this one. But look at Vixen in the meantime, cutting through the enemy space. But G2, are you sure that's the right move?
They are getting a little bit desperate, it feels. They're going for this Baron now, but they have to be careful because here comes the TP, and you know who that is. That is going to be Vixen joining this fight right now. Lazia is caught out, flashes out, but dies still, and Colombia Blue is just not able to leave at any point. Tifa stepping forward. They are able to get a lot of damage onto Vixen, but they can just jump away, and Tifa now in a bit of trouble. Threads going aggressive, but not going to find the damage, and now G2 actually with the superior range able to turn this one around, and Sheena coming back onto the map aggressively looking for the kill, but not going to find it. A 2-for-2 overall, and that was a good save from G2. Hell, it looked very scary for a certain few moments.
Oh yeah, that looked extremely risky. G2 coming in with a very desperate move. So pretty much a do-or-die situation. We either get the Baron and we win the game, or we lose the Baron, we lose our lives, and we lose our game as well. But hey, indeed it worked out. Even though in the beginning of the fight it looked really desperate for them, with them being caught in this pit with no way of them getting out other than straight into the pit. But after that, as you mentioned, the range suddenly starts popping for them the moment they remove the strongest and the scariest carries on the enemy team. Kaldi with sidestepping, with jumping with his air drill back and forth, absolutely insane. Sheena waiting out for as long as possible, but now it's another fight for the Drake.
Ooh, They're going for this dragon. They're looking for the third one. It is going to be secured by G2. Soul point for them, but can they make the fight count? Because last time there wasn't Chromac in this fight, and now they are. But the team is ahead. They had a 5 versus 3, but now they're starting to fall apart. Here comes Xavi, but is it too late? It's a 2 versus 4 with the help of Vixen, and the damage is so high. They're so low. Countess, Colombia, Tifa, they are all one hit away, but they are not going to fall down. Lysia holds the wall and holds tall. They keep back. Big Chroma and G2 stand up and are ready to be counted, and they win that team fight.
I'm sorry, I need a replay of this one because I was looking at Xavi and one moment they're alive and well, and the next moment somehow they're dead. I'm not even sure what exactly flew out of Cultist, but that was more than enough to finish that Seaver. A lot of damage flying from both ways, but in the end G2 are regaining the control of this game. They're getting it back into their hands. Another death for Chromac, another couple of kills for them. But if you look at the state of the map, especially right now in the bot lane, this is still not looking too good for them. They are one wrong team fight away from losing this game because Big can go towards the Baron. If they get the Baron, the split push is still in their hands and it's going to be really devastating for G2. But let's look at this fight because it's looking really scary. But Sheena has secured the ping, goes into Lamb's respite and jumps out of it, not really getting the heal, but she needed to avoid so many things flying her way, especially the sleep from the leader, which does get her in the end, let's be fair. But Big here with just only 2 members left for them, still trying to do some damage, but they're dealing the damage to the wrong member of the enemy team. Lysia has already built herself up to be a very reliable front lane for G2 Hell.
And it's just a lot of damage coming in from the Ezreal, very similar to last game. And now they're going to start up this Baron as well. And it is in a good position for Big Chroma. They're not ready for this one. The Baron is going down. Lysia going to try and hold the line for a little bit longer. 4,000 on the Baron as now Vixen getting in up close. 2,000 left on it. Is there a steal? There is no chance for it. It is taken by G2, but will they get out alive? Will they keep these buffs? They are running away. But Big are starting to close them down. Kaltis going to be put to sleep. Doesn't get over the wall and will die. That's one shut down, but will there be more? G2 are trying to leave this vicinity. But Tifa now in the way of Trez could be in trouble here. Going to use the Frozen Tomb, but look who's also around. Chromac going to jump underneath the tower. Stays, buys more time. The root does land from LeBlanc, and here comes the Justice, but it's not enough. A pickup from Vixen will be had, and more members have fallen. G2 keep 3 buffs, but they lose 2.
But they lose only 2. Oh my goodness. Big,
Maybe
are you okay? Lumi? What?
I don't know if you're going to get this 1v1. Sheena is very, very powerful and is going to be able to pick up a nice, easy kill for themselves. And on that top side, Lysia is still causing problems for Big. And they're trying to just leave this one. And Vixen might be the next casualty in this fight. They're trying to get away. Distortion will give them enough space. And Sheena is heavy on the chase, but I don't believe it's going to be anywhere close. And I feel like good Chroma, they had such a lead. They were splitting apart G2 so well. They need to just cool down and go back to the split push plays.
To be honest, yes, absolutely. Especially right now with the Iron buff available for G2, Chromac is not just going to be pushing in, they're going to be there to stop the push coming their way from G2 Hell. Because this fight was a big overstep from Big Chroma, unfortunately for them. They lost the Baron, they knew that. The idea after that is usually if you feel strong enough, if you can take a very good fight with the enemy, go in and try to take away the Baron buffs. But they only took 2 out of G2's side, and these were not the biggest ones and definitely not enough for them to call it a day. They stepped way too far away into the enemies to try to get these buffs out, and they had to pay the price quite dearly. They couldn't really recall from their own time. They don't have the empowered recalls because obviously they don't have the Baron buff with them. And now Big are the ones who are still, of course, in the advantage. They have more turrets and very important ones. They have more gold. But is it going to be enough from here on?
And also where the gold is, right? Garen is one of the ones that has the big lead, and if they can't utilize Chromac on that split push to really cause problems for G2, well then it doesn't really make a difference. And the whole breaker, obviously a very nice item if you are on your own and on the side lane, but in a team fight isn't going to give you those same added stats. So I do wonder how Big are going to play around this. But right now, G2, they aren't necessarily responding to this. They are very set on this dragon, and they are losing their base as we talk about it.
The dragon is understandable, but it's still half a minute before it's going to spawn, and they're just pushing through the bot lane. They're most probably going to get this turret, but they're not doing it quickly enough. With all the wave clear available to them, they're not pushing fast enough through the enemy's lines of defense. They're going to lose prior on the Drake. Right now, they're rotating there. Maybe they're going to try to do something. Have a quite a lot of vision around it, to be fair, but not necessarily in the pit itself, and they don't see where Big Chroma are. Could be caught out, could be really dangerous, but so far everything results in a stalemate, but the inhibitor lost for G2 on their base is a big miss from their side.
Right now, we are seeing Big Chroma start to line up. They're looking for this play. Seed is going to go slightly wide there. Trez not going to be able to get a sleep just yet as Chromac looking for an entry. Level 16 now, so that Demacian Justice is going to be doing big damage. And there's the hook. Tifa is the one caught out. They're going aggressive. Chromac on the backline looking for Sheena, but doesn't manage to get the damage down. The Kindred is too strong, and into the Lamb's Respite they go. They were put to sleep, but they're woken up, and Sheena gets away. They're still alive and in this fight, but is it going to be enough? Are Big Chroma going to be able to run them down? Countess is going to fall, and Trez is still alive. Tifa, the next to go down. Vixen still up as well, and there's no way, surely no way that she can get back into it, but she jumps over the wall. There's a distortion. The chain misses, and the damage is there. Sheena able to stay alive, but Trez is also up. Can the steal come through? The waves in the base as well are crashing. G2 are on a timer, but I believe it is in their favor. Trez looking for the seed to hit, but it doesn't manage to land, and they're just trying to kite out Lysia, but it's enough time to buy for the dragon. It is going to be Hextech sold to G2 Hell.
Stress was also trying to buy enough time for the minions, aka the Winnies, to do some damage to the base of G2, and to be fair, they got through half of the turret of the Nexus on the side of G2, but in the end, yes, indeed, this is the hack soul for G2. Hell, it's a very big point for them. They are going to feel super strong going into the fight, and you mentioned it in the beginning of the game with 280 carries on the side of G2. They are really happy with this all. Unfortunately for Big, they couldn't really find a good answer to this one, with Crow going right into the backline of the enemy, but look at the amount of control they immediately throw onto Crow, and again, Sheena is already at the point where she deals a lot of damage to those tankier enemies of the enemy team, and it's more than enough to put Crow down before they can do anything significant on the backline of the enemy. After that, Sheena completely removes herself from the fight, heals up from the jungle monsters from her passive, and then rejoins when she sees that Lysia has bought all the time in the world for her to come back into the fight and get a kill.
I believe we're going to go back to live, and we've seen this story before. Chromac getting caught out here, but this time there's no potential for the team to trade, and Chromac going to go down very quickly. Doesn't even manage to get Demacian Justice off because Sheena is doing so much damage, has the LDR, and on top of that, having Countess there to just dish out the damage is just going to be too much. And now it almost looks like Big Chroma are going to say, you know what, we're down to just play for the base race.
Yes, they want to get the inhibitor on the bot lane, which is going to slow down G2, but G2 are still going through the top lane. They want to open up the top lane. They are going to do exactly that with the Baron coming up in just a couple of seconds. It's an important milestone for them to achieve, and they still have Tifa and Lysia on their base. Do they have the teleports? They do have the teleports, so they are going to be joining the Baron play should it be needed. But look at Crow, still 14 seconds before they're going to be up with the Baron already right now up on the map. This is not a good look for Big Chroma.
And they do this so fast. Sheena will absolutely shred through this Baron. Trez on the speedy way there, trying to get into the pit, but Colombo is playing bodyguard. TPs are going to be coming through. The Baron is still being focused down. The damage not going to be landing, and that will be secured by G2, but they have to make it out alive. They have to get back to base, as we do see in screen on screen. Vixen takes another inhibitor, as we do see G2 starting to run away. They're getting a bit of space, but will they get out? Slow not going to land there from Lilia. Space is still bought, and I believe that they will get back to their base. They have lost another inhib. Two are going to be open, but the Baron secured is a big win for them.
The the middle inhibitor is coming up for G2 very soon. In less than minutes, it's going to be back on their base. And on top of that, inhibitors being down doesn't really mean too much unless they lose this side of the minion waves again, like it happened at the previous Drake. They are just going to have some additional gold going all the way towards their base. It doesn't even need to go too far to collect it. So it's actually a pretty nice situation for G to find themselves in. But in 3 minutes, it's going to be the Eldritch Drake. Before that, it's going to be a push from G2. And before that, it might just be Chromac dead again.
Chromac has to stay alive. You cannot die here. This is such a problematic situation, and they just need to buy time because they're not going to make it out alive, and the rest of the team are pushing on the top side. Can they open up another inhibitor? That would be worth for the lifers. Right now, Sheena going to go low, forced to burn the stasis, but Chromac will fall down, and it doesn't look like Big Chroma are able to answer back with more towers, with more structures falling, but they are buying time while the Baron is active.
Yes, they're making sure that G2 are not pushing with their buff. They're just defending, they're just answering, they're trying to find the kills, almost dying in the process because Sheena went extremely low and dangerous in this exchange considering how many members of G2 were there on the bot lane. But right now, G2 finally are putting their Baron to the good use, pushing through the bot lane. It is a very risky situation for both of the teams, but especially for G2 because they want to be pushing to use the Baron buff, but at the same time, they cannot really allow Big too much mobility on the map because with 2 teleports on their side, one of which being on their AD carry, they can shred through the base very quickly should they decide to do so.
1 minute left on this buff, and then I feel like it's go time, right? Because the dragon is coming up in minute 48 seconds. This Elder Dragon, I think, is going to be the end of the game, the fight to seal it all if we get to it. And I feel like this is a time to take a breath, you know, have a bit of calm. Because both teams, they're going to be setting up, they're going to be pushing in the waves, the Baron buff will fall off, they will start setting up the dragon, and then it is all going to go down.
Oh yes, but is it really time to breathe? Just a little bit maybe for G2, but they're still pushing in. They still want to use this Baron buff and they want to open as much of the map as possible because so far their base is standing pretty much naked through 2 lines, through the mid lane and through the bot lane. And the difference between the teams is not too big, even with the Baron buff big for the second time already for G2. It is just less than 2k gold difference between the teams. Big are still maintaining some control of the map, but if you look at the individual lead again, we need to look at who is holding the lead with Garen 1-5 already having the pretty much the only significant lead on their team. It is still not a good picture for Big. They need to do something about G2 and they need to find an approach to Sheena.
Indeed, and also you cannot forget about Countess, right? I think that Sheena, obviously the big carry that you need to kill, as we are seeing Garen doing almost no damage to the side of Elysia, by the way. As right now, it is going to be Countess on the aggress. True Shot Barrage going to be used, but in the base, look at them. They're already starting to push onto this one. Xavi is going to start using their movement and their damage to start crushing this tower, and that is going to be 1 down. And now all hell is breaking loose in the G2 base. They're going aggressive for this play. They're looking for the towers. But Tifa holding on. Stasis is going to buy a bit more time, and Cultist has come back. Now it's time for Big Chroma to leave. They got a tower, and they need to get out because they do not have the chance to fight this fight. They get another inhib. That is going to be all 3 down. But Sheena now coming through from the back line. Going to pick up 1, but going to pick up 2. And can they turn this into a win?
That was a big move from Big Chroma right there. Could have resulted in the victory for them, but in the end, them dying right now is awful. Look at the death timers. 40 seconds on 2 of their members, one of them being the jungler. Look at another timer. Look at the Elder timer. There is no timer exactly because the Drake is already up and running. This is going to be a very easily secured Elder Drake for G2 right now because of what Big were trying to do. This was a desperate move for them. It was high risk, high reward. The highest risk and the highest reward possible, but in the end, the risk was a little bit bigger than the possible reward.
Oh, and Tifa is trying to get away, has the distance and now has the backup from Elysia. This should be a survival situation, and they are going to use the Frozen Tomb as well to recover to half HP. Elder Dragon is going to be slain. G2 will have the buffer. Can they close it out? No inhibs are up for their base. 20 seconds and they get their bot 1 back, but they are still in a situation where a backdoor could end the game.
This is absolutely crazy. The team that has been securing all the major objectives for the last, 15-20 minutes of the game is having their base completely naked. The only thing that is standing between them and the victory for Big Chroma right now is this 1 turret on their base that has been chipped down so heavily during the previous fight. Insane situation. I am loving these finals of Pathfinders too so much, Jeriel, but let's focus on the game because right now for G2, they want to find a fight. They want to use this Elder buff that they have on themselves. This buff wears off really quickly. The timer for it is really surprisingly short, but they need to find something. RP going to give an opportunity for G2 to find this fight because they might just 25 seconds before the Baron is going to be up. If Big get the Baron, they might just win the game. If G2 get the Baron, this might just be the missing link for them to turn this game around. Keep your eyes on G2's base. Keep your eyes on everybody, on both of the teams. Everything is at stakes right now.
Watch it all. Don't close your eyes. Don't blink. Don't even look away. You got to be careful of what you don't see. But I do agree. Baron is going to be up. It is now up. And obviously, it's a big target for both sides. Right now, G2 aren't in position to take this one, and it looks like it could be the side of Big that sneaks this one away. But here comes Sheena. They're trying to get the steal. They're not going to be able to get into the pit, and it is taken by Big. they do manage to steal this one, and I feel like it's because G2 had to be so cautious of their base. They couldn't leave it open, because if there was any chance the big Chroma could get in there, they can end the game.
Absolutely. This is putting G2 in such a tough spot right now. Again, Big are coming in with very big mind games against G2 health. They are forcing them to play in the grounds where G2 don't really want to be finding themselves. G2 cannot fully commit into anything on the map whatsoever unless Big give them an opportunity to do so, like it happened with an Elder Drake. Other than that, yes, it is a constant back and forth for G2. Do we want to protect the base? Do we want to go and fight with the Big? Do we want to try to take an objective away from them? But how much do we sacrifice on our base? But right now, is it enough for Big to have the final push towards the base of the G2 hell?
10 seconds left on the Elder Dragon buff, and we're seeing Sheena move down to Chromac, but this could be the curse that ends it all. They only have one tower, and they have minions in base. Kaltis is there, does have the support of Lysia, but 4 members of Big could cause enough of a problem, and Chromac going aggressive here, but the team isn't necessarily in position. They are 1 versus 3. They're trying to buy as much time for the team as possible. No. They are going to do damage to Tifa, who is still running away, but they go down, and in the base, it isn't enough time. Big weren't ready. They weren't in position to push onto these towers.
Oh, the idea was there for Big Chroma. The idea is brilliant. Again, G2 are rotating 3 members of their team to stop Chromac from spinning to win. But as you said, Big were not ready. They couldn't really find any follow-up to what their top laner just did for them. And come on, this Baron buff is going to be pretty much wasted on them right now. My god, Lumi!
Lumi, I don't know about this one. Vixen is there, able to support them, but they have to be careful. They're so close to the enemy's base. There's so many of them there. G2 are trying to just find the successful fight that they need, and they've been gifted an opportunity. Good flash away from Zabby will get them to safety, as they almost gave G2 such a big opening, because the thing that we've got to remember is they've had all this pressure. Big have had such good opportunities because of the base being in tatters for G2, but they are about to get all their inhibs back, and they won't have to worry about defending their base as strongly.
Remember about the death timers. We are approaching 40 minutes of the game. If you die right now, you are going to not be in the game for about a minute. This is massive. In a minute, so many things can happen. For Big, this is important. If they die, they open up their base to G2. If G2 die, if too many members of that team die, this is going to be game over for them quite immediately. They're going to have their inhibitors resurrecting right now, so at least a little bit of additional time for Big to cut through in order to open their base completely. But Big are relentless. This game has been a really long and excruciating one, J-Real, and both the teams really want to finish it with a W.
Indeed they do. It's just one fight away from either side taking it. As you said, death timers are long, the damage is there, the chance to open up the base is for both teams. One fight to end it all. 1 minute 22 until the Elder Drake, 2 minutes 50 until the Baron. I don't think we're seeing the purple buff spawn again, to be honest. I think it all comes down to one fight around Elder Drake, unless a team decides to give it up. And Big, they might still play for a little bit of a cheesy move. They might still go for a backdoor when G2 send themselves toward the Elder Drake.
They don't have the teleports right now, so they need to wait, but you can see that both of the teams are pretty much waiting it out right now. Everything is at stakes. The stakes are exceptionally high. This is quite possibly the final match of Pathfinders number 2, so both of the teams are taking it down a little bit. They're taking a step back, trying to play as cautiously and carefully as possible, because again, they know that if somebody dies, they're pretty much opening the way to the enemy to do whatever they want. Speaking of doing whatever they want, Chromac is again at the enemy base. Chromac is cutting through this, and he is going to be able to open it. Not enough time for G2 to answer, and Big are trying to slow down Sheena.
Sheena is going to get hit with a depth charge. Will get knocked up. One inhib is removed by Chromac. They have started the siege again. They have managed to open up the base once more, and G2 will have to be very cautious about making a play forward. But Kaltis is doing so much damage. It isn't just G2 that have to worry. Big Chroma have to get the right engage. They have to get the right fight, and Tifa might have found it in the top side. Vixen very low, gets away. Distortion out, and Tifa no ultimate, but that will be coming up very soon, and we'll see if it has bought enough as Big Chromac. They're trying to make a play. They're trying to get towards that base and give space for their team to get this Dragon. But Trez, you have to be cautious. You have to let G2 start this one off. You can't go aggressive. They're not even all members there. And Chromac now going aggressive, trying to get this tower down. Inhib is going to fall. That is one. They're looking for the second. They're going for all three, and the rest of the team are in this Dragon fight. They're able to start stalling out the play from G2. It's a 3 versus 3 there, and if they find one good sleep, one good engage, it could be night for G2. But Crow in this base is causing big problems, and Tifa might go down, but the Frozen Tomb keeps them alive, and now Chromac in trouble, goes down to Lysia, but what about the rest of the fight? They are around this dragon. Lamb's Respite is up, but around the dragon, who is going down? Sheena is low, but they're not going to fall, and now Countess stepping forward. Goodbye to Xavi, immediately exploded. They're going to resurrect, but they're going to fall straight away. The Elder Dragon is slain, and G2 are on the winning cusp, but can Vixen do something here? Can they make a play? They're going into the base, they're pushing in these waves, but they have to just buy time. They're ticking out, the Elder Dragon is burning, and they need to survive.
Oh my god, but can they survive? Yes, they can! Vixen survives for the time being, but maybe not for too long because Sheena is still on their hand, but the hand is in the wrong place. Big are down 40 seconds on 3 members of the team. 20 seconds, to be honest, for the majority of them, but oh my god, this is the end of Vixen. Oh my god, yes, the Elder buff, the beautiful animation there. Ace for G2. How much are they going to be able to do? In the meantime, the Baron is up. They are going to claim it as their prize for withstanding the insane moves from Big. But what was happening there in the base? With Crow deciding to open up all the inhibitors. Of course, it's buying a lot of time for the rest of the team, but in the end of it, the turret still stands there on the base of G2.
Yeah, shout out that super minion, by the way, holding back the forces of G2's minions. But it was a smart play, right? Crow open up the bases. I would say they maybe overstayed a little bit too long, right? They could have just got away when they got the third inhib. They didn't need to go for the play for Tifa. It almost feels like they've been trying to kill Tifa the whole game, and it's not been working out for them. The Lissandra can just kite out so well. Maybe they need to just, you know, refocus, just go for the towers, because they were able to save Big's bacon, right? They were able to keep them alive. They were able to hold out G's2 potential push. But how many times can they play this game?
Not too many. Not right now. They cannot play it right now because G2 are still running around with the Elder buff on their hands. But the moment is going to be off because it's already, what, a quarter of it left whatsoever. This is going to be the moment for Big to try to find a fight. Everybody is already full build. Everybody's already either at level 18 or almost at 8. Nobody's going to be getting any stronger from this point on. Based on a little bit, you know, to finish up the build, you know, little things here and there, but everybody is at full build. Everybody is fully ready to be fighting. So it all will come down to who is a little bit smarter in their moves on the map, who is able to provoke the opponent a little bit better into getting the into the field where they don't want to be.
I think it's about picks. It's about getting caught up. It's about staying alive. And I feel like G2 have been a little bit better at that than the side of Big. Big had a huge lead, but they haven't been able to utilize it to the max. And right now, actually, this could be the opening. Look at these 3 members in the top. They're looking for Vixen, but this is a tough one to run down. Vixen able to get away, and now into the mixer. Tries to jump back, but Sheena able to pick up the kill. And with the Baron resets, they can get back to base safely in time.
Oh, no, 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 there's not enough time for Big to do anything. They're just clearing through the waves. It is an insane wave clear. It's the game of the wave clear. Back and forth we go with our abilities, with our AD carries, clearing out the waves, getting a little bit closer to the enemy base, but then the enemy does exactly the same to us. Insane game, but it's going to get accelerated in 3 minutes from now. It's going to be yet another Elder Drake. When was the last time you saw the fight for yet another, the third Elder Drake in a row?
Oh man, the third Elder Drake, and the inhibs are respawning again. So we're going to have the same situation for Big Chroma. They're going to have a problem because the pressure is going to be off of G2. But this time, it's a bit of a better timer for G2 because they're not going to have to try and get a dragon while the base is spawned. And they might even just take the base of Big Chroma because they are starting to push down that mid lane with the buff, with the Baron empowered minions. They're starting to crack this base open.
Big moves there from G2 Hal, very good, finally going full offense onto the Big Chroma side, opening up their base a little bit, but getting the game overall into a little bit more of an equal state between them.
Countess, they're able to keep such a strong range advantage there. Nice shield will stop Xavi from taking massive damage, as now the top side, the game has changed. Lysia is no longer the one that is behind. Chromac cannot stand toe-to-toe with this Scion, who is the master of the split push when you get into the late game. And you are starting to see it now. You are starting to see Big Chroma lose their grip on this game. They've had a back and forth all the way, but now G2, with comfort, with control, are starting to run them down. And it is here that Chroma have to make a play. They go aggressive. They're looking for the backline, but they can't get there just yet. There's the kill onto the Tifa. They managed to land one. Lizia is trying to kill off the base in the backline as well, as Sheena buys a bit more time with the Lamb's respite. Are they going to survive? They're going low, but they don't fall. And Sheena stays up, and so does Countess. The GA comes through. They're in the base, and Lizia has done the work for them. The turrets are gone. The Nexus will fall, and G2 will take us to game 3.
Lizia at some point just looked at Chroma and was like, you know what? I can do everything that you've been doing in this game, but I'm going to do it just a little bit better because my push is actually going to get my team to the victory. This was a long game, J-Real. It was a tough one, but in the end, G2 are making sure we are going all the way into game number 3 in this finals.
I said it at the start. I said, what do we expect? Anna asked me. I said, I expect a game 3 all day today. The matches have been close, back and forward. One team winning, then the next, and then we take it to an equalizer, and it's gone here once again. Big Chroma, they had their chances to take the game. They had their ways to play, but they messed up. They made mistakes, and they got caught out. And unfortunately, G2 Hell, they capitalized on those mistakes. And yes, it took a while. Yes, we had a lot of back and forth. Yes, we had a lot of could that have been the end of the game moments, but it is finally removed by G2 Hell. They closed that game, and Solari, man, what can I say? What do we even think about? There was so much in that game to break down. Are you feeling confident that either team can take this one in the last game? Do you have a prediction of who wins game 3?
No, I absolutely don't, because these games are going back and forth so massively. In this one, both the teams could win at certain moments, but to be honest, the moment this game gets into a super late game, you can see just how good G2 are feeling, especially after playing so well around Sheena.
It feels like how we saw the first best of 3 Big Chroma, right? The first game, Big Chroma, really strong, really clinical, close out the game. It feels like the other team have just been outclassed. They have no way that they can fight back. But second game, third game, it started to struggle, and I do wonder if that's going to repeat themselves. Will we have the same situation that Big Chroma had in the first series? We'll find out, but before then, we're going to throw to a break. We're going to bring Anna back, and we're going to break down what just happened in that massive game.